So I will be answering one of the questions under the theme of society, more in particular explaining Claudia and her, um, development to love Shirley Temple and love her white doll, and answering what does age have to do with this, and what does it say about the effect of social standards of beauty on young girls, and how does this doll affect the esteem of young girls. So I think that The Bluest Eye provides example of ways in which internalized Caucasian beauty standards impact and distort the lives of black girls and women. It gives off the message that whites are superior and encourages young girls to hate the blackness of their own body. So especially in this time, you know, it wasn't always beautiful to be black or to be of a different race. And as a child, Claudia didn't understand the objective view of the doll and the dominant culture associated with it. When she reflects as an older and more mature girl, she admits that she came to worship the doll and how the change and adjustment was without improvement. And so essentially, Claudia knew what urged herself to idolize the features of the doll and no longer tore apart the doll to quote examine it to see what was that all the world said was lovable. So, she as a child, you want evidence, you want a reason to do things. If someone says, "Well, go sit down," well, why? Well, because and most adults will say because I said so, but they get an answer, and in this time, especially with Claudia, she was heard and not seen and not heard. She didn't speak, and no one spoke to her, and no one really gave her explanations on her feelings and the thought processes. So it didn't lead her to it did not lead her to love herself for who she is, but to idolize the characteristics of others that she didn't possess. So with Shirley Temple, she was a curly haired, white child who was postered everywhere. And for her, she, was isolated in her own home and, didn't feel beautiful. And unfortunately, as a child, Claudia didn't understand the lack of power that comes along with not only being a child, but even more so being black, poor, and a woman. Because in this time, even shown by her mother, they just sat in the house and gossiped. They didn't have much importance in their life, much structure and responsibility. Um, so the distorted beauty standards solidified the notion that beauty is a matter of cultural norms. Claudia could not understand this and explained that she wanted to quote discover what eluded me, the secret of the magic they weaved on others. What made people look at them and say, "Ah," but not for me. So, as a child, she even went to explain that she just wanted time with her parents instead of this doll that she didn't think was beautiful that everyone else did, that she should have been thankful for. Um, she had different priorities and she didn't understand what was to be appreciated, and felt that because the importance was placed on a white doll, that she was somehow less important, and the reaction to how she went about researching or discovering how the doll was important by tearing it apart, how that was reacted to, it only solidified her neglect and insecurities. So we can see a display of internalizing social norms and standards and how it impacts young children and their self-esteem. So I think that that was something, when you first read through, you don't think it's too deep, but you really go to understand how it negatively impacted Claudia. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that.